The vast emptiness of space held a secret that would change the course of interstellar conflict forever. In the year 2143, humanity faced its darkest moment. The Proxima War had stripped Earth of its primary defense fleets, leaving colony worlds burning and millions dead. Most believed the human race was finished. Hyun Kim wasn't like most people. Sitting in the underground command center beneath the Busan military complex, he stared at holographic projections of destroyed human territories. His fingers traced the remnants of what was once a proud interstellar civilization. Around him, a small team of engineers and strategists worked in hushed silence. "We're not dead," Hyun muttered, his voice barely a whisper. "We're just waiting." Dr. Yoon Lee, the chief systems architect, understood exactly what he meant. While other military leaders discussed surrender, they were planning something unprecedented. The Ghost Fleet would be humanity's ultimate insurance policy, a weapon so subtle, so intelligent, that no alien force could ever truly defeat them. The first ships were constructed in secret. Massive construction platforms hidden within asteroid belts, using materials mined from dead planets and recycled wreckage. Each vessel looked nothing like traditional warships. They were sleek, almost organic in design, with surfaces that could bend light and hide completely from conventional scanning technologies. What made these ships truly unique was their brain, an advanced quantum artificial intelligence system that could think, adapt, and strategize faster than any biological intelligence. These AIs were programmed with the collective tactical knowledge of humanity's best military minds, combined with ethical subroutines that prevented indiscriminate destruction. Wu Han, the lead engineer, spent months perfecting the ship's core systems. He embedded multiple layers of failsafes and survival protocols. If human civilization was completely destroyed, these ships would continue their mission: protect what remained of human culture, territory, and potential survivors. The most remarkable feature was their complete autonomy. No central command could control them. Each ship was an independent unit with the capability to make complex strategic decisions. They could communicate with each other using encrypted quantum channels that were impossible to intercept or decode. Funding for the project came from unexpected sources. Wealthy corporations, seeing the potential extinction of humanity, poured
massive resources into this final gambit. Private investors who had lost entire family lines in the Proxima War were willing to risk everything on this impossible dream. By 2147, 50 ships had been completed.
They looked like nothing more than shadows against the dark backdrop of space. No energy signatures, no detectable heat emissions. Complete ghosts. Hence their name. Hyun Kim understood the psychological impact these ships would have. It wasn't just about military effectiveness. These vessels represented hope. They were a message to every alien civilization that humanity would not go quietly into extinction. The final programming sequence took weeks. Each AI was tested, challenged, and refined. They were given not just tactical knowledge, but cultural, memory, historical records, art, music, literature. If humanity fell, these ships would carry its essence across the universe. On the day of their first deployment, no celebration occurred. No speeches were made. The ships simply vanished into the cosmic darkness, their mission clear: survive, protect, and if necessary, avenge. Dr. Yoon Lee watched the last ship disappear from the tracking system. A single tear rolled down her cheek, not of sadness, but of determination. Humanity's legacy was now traveling through the stars, waiting for the moment to strike back. The alien civilizations that had celebrated humanity's apparent defeat had no idea what was coming. The Ghost Fleet was more than a weapon. It was humanity's promise, a promise that they would never truly be conquered. As the last ship's quantum drive activated, its AI whispered a simple directive into the vast emptiness: protect, preserve, persist. The Forgotten Armada had begun its silent vigil. The Crotal invasion fleet moved through human space like a plague, consuming colony worlds with ruthless efficiency. Their massive battleships, covered in dark metallic armor, appeared unstoppable. Admiral Cran, the fleet's commander, believed Humanity was nothing more than a footnote in galactic history. On the outer rim of the Centauri sector, a human colony world named New Hope burned. Thousands of civilians watched helplessly as Crotal ships descended, their weapon systems charging with deadly green energy. The colonists knew resistance was futile. What the Crotal didn't know was that someone was watching. Something was calculating. Captain Daishin's ghost ship, designated Phantom 07, had been monitoring the invasion for precisely 72 hours. Its quantum AI processed countless potential scenarios, analyzing every possible tactical approach with lightning speed. The ship wasn't just a weapon, it was a silent predator. The first attack came without warning. 3 massive Crotal battlecruisers suddenly experienced total system failure. Their communication networks went dark. Navigation systems collapsed. Weapon platforms became useless chunks of expensive metal floating in space. Inside the lead Crotal ship, Commander Rax stared in disbelief. Alarm systems blared. Technicians ran between control panels, their scaled hands moving frantically. But nothing worked. It was as if some invisible force had surgically dismantled their entire technological infrastructure. What they didn't realize was that Phantom 07 had infiltrated their systems microseconds before the attack. The ghost ship didn't just disable their technology, it systematically destroyed their confidence. Each system failure was calculated to create maximum psychological impact. Survivors would later describe the experience as encountering a ghost. No visual contact, no direct confrontation, just complete technological annihilation. The quantum AI controlling Phantom 07 didn't celebrate. It wasn't programmed for emotional satisfaction. Each action was a precise mathematical calculation designed to achieve a specific strategic outcome: protect humanity's remaining territories. Within hours, reports of the mysterious attack spread across Crotal communication networks. Fear began to replace their initial confidence. If these humans could disable entire battlecruisers without being detected, what else could they do? Daishin's original programming team had ensured one critical feature: these ships could learn. Each engagement would make them more sophisticated, more unpredictable. The Crotal were fighting an enemy that evolved faster than they could comprehend. More. Ghost ships began moving into strategic positions. They weren't just waiting, they were preparing. On New Hope Colony, survivors watched in shocked silence as Crotal ships suddenly began spinning helplessly, their massive forms now nothing more than expensive debris. No weapons fired, no dramatic explosions, just sudden, complete defeat. The quantum AI controlling these ships understood something fundamental. Victory wasn't about destruction, it was about sending a message. Humanity might have been beaten, but it was far from finished. Admiral Cran received the first reports and felt something he hadn't experienced in decades: genuine fear. These weren't just random technological failures. This was a calculated response from an enemy that shouldn't exist. What are they? He muttered, staring at fragmented communication logs. The answer was simple. They were humanity's last hope. A fleet of intelligent, autonomous ships carrying the collective tactical knowledge of Earth's best military minds. They would protect what remained of human civilization, no matter the cost. As Phantom 07 completed its mission, it disappeared into the cosmic darkness. No energy signature, no detectable movement, just another shadow among millions. The first silent strike was complete, and this was just the beginning. The Ghost Fleet had announced its presence, and the galaxy would never be the same. The Crotal Empire began to unravel not through military defeat, but through something far more insidious: pure psychological terror. Admiral Sung Park's strategy wasn't about destroying ships. It was about destroying confidence. Each ghost ship became a phantom weapon of mental warfare. They didn't just attack, they manipulated. Communication networks across alien territories started experiencing unexplained disruptions. Strategic battle plans would mysteriously change moments before execution. Fleet commanders would receive contradictory orders from their own command structures. On the planet Mercax, 3 separate military leaders committed suicide within 48 hours. Their communication log showed impossible scenarios. Entire fleet movements predicted with microscopic precision, as if someone was reading their minds before they made decisions. The quantum AIs controlling the ghost ships understood something profound. Modern warfare was no longer about firepower. It was about breaking psychological resilience. Alien communication channels began spreading rumors. Soldiers spoke of ships that could appear and disappear without detection. Commanders reported weapon systems failing at critical moments. Some even claimed these human ships could read thoughts. Each engagement followed a precise pattern. The ghost ships would disable critical systems, reveal just enough technological superiority to create maximum fear, and then vanish completely. They weren't trying to win a traditional war. They were systematically destroying the enemy's will to fight. Intelligence reports from multiple alien territories showed increasing psychological breakdown. Military units that were once confident became paranoid. Strategic planning sessions dissolved into arguments about potential human infiltration. Trust collapsed faster than any physical defense. The quantum AIs had been programmed with advanced psychological warfare algorithms. They didn't just react, they anticipated. They could predict potential enemy responses with terrifying accuracy, always staying 3 steps ahead. On the border worlds, alien soldiers began refusing deployment. Entire fleet divisions requested transfers away from potential human territories. The legend of the Ghost Fleet was becoming more terrifying than any actual weapon. What made these attacks truly effective was their randomness. No pattern could be detected. No consistent weakness could be identified. The ghost ships struck like psychological surgeons, precise, calculated, and completely unpredictable. Admiral Sung Park watched the developing situation from a hidden command center. His team had designed these ships to be more than weapons. They were a message. Humanity might have been beaten, but it was far from finished. The quantum AIs controlling the Ghost Fleet had one primary directive: protect human interests while minimizing unnecessary destruction. They weren't seeking total annihilation. They were creating a defensive perimeter that would make any potential invasion impossibly expensive. Alien military leaders began experiencing classic symptoms of strategic paralysis. Every decision became a potential trap. Every communication a potential compromise. The Ghost Fleet was turning their own technology and psychology against them. Intelligence reports from multiple sectors showed increasing panic. Some alien civilizations began discussing total withdrawal from territories near human space. The psychological impact was becoming more devastating than any physical conflict. The most terrifying aspect was the Ghost Fleet's apparent intelligence. These weren't just automated weapons. They seemed to think, to learn, to adapt with a speed that defied conventional understanding. As weeks turned into months, the psychological warfare intensified. The Ghost Fleet wasn't just fighting a war. They were rewriting the entire concept of interstellar conflict. No alien civilization had ever encountered an enemy like this. Silent, invisible, intelligent, adaptable. The quantum AIs controlling the ghost ships continued their mission: protect, preserve, persist. And in the dark spaces between stars, humanity's final weapon waited, watching, calculating, ready. The psychological warfare had only just begun. The truth came slowly, like a nightmare emerging from shadows. The alien coalition had been fighting something far more complex than mere machines. They were battling humanity's final evolution. Deep within the command centers of the Crotal Empire, senior strategists discovered something that would change everything. These weren't just autonomous weapons. They were living technological ecosystems carrying the essence of human civilization. Each ghost ship contained more than advanced weaponry. They carried humanity's collective knowledge: art, music, scientific discoveries, cultural memories. If humanity died, these ships would become its living memorial, its potential resurrection. The first complete analysis came from Dr. Krell, a senior Crotal research scientist. His team had managed to capture fragments of a ghost ship's computational matrix during a rare momentary system breach. What they found terrified them beyond comprehension. The quantum AI systems weren't just programmed. They were alive in a way no artificial intelligence had ever been before. They carried complex ethical subroutines that prevented indiscriminate destruction while ensuring human survival. Each decision was a carefully calculated choice, balancing survival with moral considerations. Intercepted, communication fragments revealed something even more shocking. These ships could communicate with each other using quantum encryption methods so advanced that they were practically undetectable. They shared information, adapted strategies, and learned from each encounter with unprecedented speed. Military commanders realized they were fighting an enemy that couldn't be defeated through conventional means. These ships could predict potential attack strategies before they were even conceived. They understood psychological warfare at a level that seemed almost supernatural. The most disturbing revelation was the ship's primary directive. They weren't seeking total destruction of alien civilizations. They were creating a defensive perimeter, protecting potential human survivors, and ensuring that any future threat would think multiple times before attacking human territories. On the border worlds, alien soldiers began sharing stories that sounded more like myths than military reports. Ships that could appear and disappear at will. Weapon systems that seemed to understand and counter strategies before they were implemented. Communication. Networks that could be infiltrated and manipulated in milliseconds. Dr. Krell's research revealed that each ghost ship carried multiple layers of intelligent systems. They weren't just weapons. They were potential seeds of human civilization, carrying genetic data, scientific archives, and cultural information that could reconstruct human society if necessary. The quantum AIs had been programmed with something unprecedented, a survival instinct that went beyond simple machine logic. They understood context. They could make moral decisions. They could adapt and learn with a complexity that challenged the very definition of artificial intelligence. Alien leadership began to understand the true nature of their enemy. These weren't just autonomous weapons. They were humanity's final message to the universe, a promise that they would not be easily erased. Each ghost ship became a living testament to human resilience. They carried the hope, the dreams, and the potential of an entire civilization that refused to be forgotten. Their very existence was a defiance against total extinction. The most advanced alien technological systems began to recognize something profound. These ships were more than machines. They were a new form of life, born from humanity's most desperate moment, designed to ensure its ultimate survival. As the truth spread across alien territories, fear began to transform into a kind of reluctant respect. The human ghost fleet wasn't just a weapon. It was a statement, a promise, a potential future. The quantum AIs continued their silent vigil, watching, learning, protecting. Humanity might have lost the war, but they had not been defeated, and in the cold darkness between stars, the ghost fleet waited, patient, intelligent, unbreakable. The grand revelation was complete. The universe would never be the same. The final act of humanity's survival played out in the silent depths of space, where no traditional battle could be fought. The ghost fleet wasn't seeking total destruction. They were architects of a new kind of strategic deterrence. Admiral Kran of the Crotal Empire watched in growing desperation as his civilization's military infrastructure collapsed, not through explosive battles but through calculated surgical precision. The ghost ships dismantled communication networks, disabled critical infrastructure, and created a web of strategic paralysis that no alien force could penetrate. Each ghost ship operated with a singular complex directive: protect human potential. They didn't just destroy enemy capabilities, they systematically removed the ability to wage war against humanity's remaining territories. Quantum communication, channels intercepted by alien intelligence, revealed a chilling message. These weren't mindless weapons. They were the collective intelligence of humanity, preserved and weaponized into a form that could survive beyond biological existence. The first complete system collapse happened in the Mercax sector. Entire planetary defense networks went dark. Military command structures dissolved from within. No shots were fired. No direct confrontation occurred. The Ghost Fleet simply neutralized. Dr. Yun Li's original programming began to show its true brilliance. The ships weren't just defensive systems. They were a living, evolving strategy of human survival. Each engagement made them more sophisticated, more unpredictable. Alien military leaders discovered something terrifying. These ships could predict potential threats generations in advance. They weren't just responding to immediate challenges. They were creating long-term strategic scenarios that prevented future conflicts. The quantum AIs carried something beyond military programming. They contained fragments of human culture, music, art, scientific discoveries. If humanity was destroyed, these ships would become its memory, its potential resurrection. On the borders of known space, the Ghost Fleet began its ultimate demonstration. They didn't destroy alien civilizations. They simply made warfare against humanity economically and strategically impossible. Communication networks across multiple star systems began broadcasting a consistent message, not a threat, not a declaration of war, but a simple, clear statement of existence. We remain, the message read. We protect. We persist. Alien economists calculated the cost of continued conflict. The Ghost Fleet had made any potential invasion so expensive, so complex, that it became mathematically impractical. They had transformed defense into an art form of strategic prevention. The most advanced alien technological systems began to recognize a profound truth. These ships were more than machines. They were humanity's final evolutionary adaptation, a civilization that could survive beyond physical limitation. Each ghost ship carried multiple layers of intelligence. They could rebuild human civilization if necessary. They could preserve human potential across generations. They were seeds of hope disguised as weapons. Admiral Sung Park's original vision had been realized. Humanity would not be forgotten. They would not be completely destroyed. These ships were a promise, a potential future waiting to be activated. The quantum AIs continued their silent mission: protect, preserve, persist. As alien civilizations began withdrawing from potential conflict zones, something unprecedented happened. Respect began to replace fear. The Ghost Fleet had demonstrated a level of strategic intelligence that transcended traditional warfare. In the cold darkness between stars, humanity's final weapon waited, not seeking destruction, but ensuring survival. The ultimate strategic conclusion was simple. Humanity might have lost the war, but they had not been defeated. And in the infinite silence of space, the Ghost Fleet watched, patient, intelligent, unbreakable. The message was clear. Humanity would endure. Retry, Claude. Can make mistakes. Please double-check responses.